set your table for a candlelight and silver dinner. The beauty with which you surround yourself is a reflection of your own good taste. Your sterling sets the stand your home. It is part of your personal collection of fine art, to use and to enjoy. Creation of an artist who drew his inspiration from all the beauties of the world around us. A silver designer draws from many sources, from the pure line and classic proportion of an ancient Greek temple, from the images of poets, from the figures of mythology, from the glowing vitality of Renaissance art. He appreciates the soaring spires of Mont Saint-Michel, right for their time and place, and as enduringly beautiful as this Italian skyscraper, right for its time, and already regarded as a masterpiece. An artist must be conversant with all the elements of our cultural heritage. Each fine silver design stems from the total of human artistic experience. Each has its own fascinating story. The sterling masterpiece, Francis I, reflects both the beauty of its surroundings and a tradition rich in history and romance. Its name and its theme are 16th century France, yet it lives gracefully with contemporary table appointments. The keynote of the setting for an elegant dinner. The story of the creation of the Francis I silver pattern is one of the livelier episodes from the history of sterling design. The time, 1906. The place, Taunton, Massachusetts. The cast, the brilliant French artist, Ernest Mayer, and the noted German die maker, Max Berve. Assignment, to create a magnificent new silver pattern. Berve to carve the dies from Mayer's drawings. But there was one slight problem.
Und tell that Schweinhund Frenchman it won't work.
The two collaborators hated each other, insisted on working in quarters 2 miles apart. So, young Joe Martin, the office boy, was commissioned to carry models, drawings, and messages between the two battling geniuses, who couldn't forget that their fathers had fought in the Franco-Prussian War. Ingenuity and diplomacy came early to Joe Martin. One wrong word could ruin everything. But like any ambassador, young Joe could edit Berve's Prussian comments and tune them a bit for Mayer's sensitive ear.
Entree.
Mr. Berve sends his compliments.
Bah. You can take these drawings to that bush, and I hope he choked on them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Joe Martin, office boy and diplomat, has kept Mayer and Berve working together for at least another day. Footnote, he eventually got to be vice president of the company.
Get a horse!
Well, so much for the French artist today. Now, what about the German die maker?
That's more like it. Yeah, not so bad.
A diplomatic triumph. The result, the best loved sterling silver pattern ever created. The magnificent Francis I, product of two great talents. Master designer Ernest Mayer, authority on the Renaissance, and master die maker, sculptor in steel, Max Berve. It took 3 years to work out the exact details of the original motif and to translate the design from paper to steel tools that formed the silver. The sculptured beauty of Francis I is a crowning achievement of silver design and craftsmanship, named for the king who brought the Renaissance to France. To his court at Chambord Castle, King Francis summoned the greatest artists and silversmiths of his time. Leonardo da Vinci sold Francis the Mona Lisa here. Benvenuto Cellini, the most celebrated silversmith of Europe, spent years creating silver to adorn the royal table. The Rospliosi cup of gold, silver, encrusted with precious stones, is one of Cellini's masterpieces. The richness and exuberant detail of the best works of the Renaissance are captured in silver in the magnificent Francis I design. It appears at first glance to be one basic design. A pineapple, an orange, an apple, and a peach are sculptured in bold relief on the handle of this iced teaspoon. Actually, there are 15 different fruit and flower groupings in a complete service. Plums, an apple, an orange are grouped on the serving fork. The sumptuous design and luxurious detail of Francis I sterling make it entertaining to the eye and satisfying to the hand. In a different way, and with equal verve, the brilliant diamond pattern gratifies the senses. Diamond expresses the elegance of mature contemporary design. It is the creation of one of the most remarkable men of our time. Near the shores of Lake Como and the foothills of the Italian Alps, in a secluded hilltop villa, the man described authoritatively as probably the world's greatest designer has his quiet studio. On this table, Gio Ponti has designed opera sets, furniture, skyscrapers, even whole cities. Commissioned to create a vitally new sterling silver, his design philosophy led him to the form of which he said, "This is the shape it must be." Ponti is a man of strong, well-reasoned opinions. For him, there are tests which separate a work of art from an exercise in technique. Ponti feels that a work of art in silver or stone must have inventiveness of shape and structure. It should have elusiveness, the quality that makes you forget materials and techniques, that reveals the poetry of the artist's vision. Yet it should say unmistakably what it is. A church should look like a church. A spoon should look like a spoon. And the work of art must be immortal. Nothing can improve on it. It must be enduringly beautiful. Students, you could call them disciples, come from all over the world to absorb the ideas of Gio Ponti, a Renaissance man of the 20th century. He believes that what he creates, an office building or a silver pattern, should offer entertainment to the eye, that the play of light and shadow should enchant and amuse, beguile and satisfy. Not for him the sterile surfaces of much so-called modern design. He believes that function decrees form, that the right form will be naturally inherently beautiful, as this skyscraper he designed, the tallest office building in Europe. Size makes no difference in the merit of a work of art. According to Gio Ponti, the same hand and the same thinking can create a distinguished building or a striking silver pattern, a shape to which nothing can be added, nothing taken away. Ponti calls this an essential, a true form. True because nothing can be added or subtracted from truth. To Ponti, the mission of an artist, whether he makes a building or a piece of silver, is to create an illusion that goes beyond reality. Again and again, he returns to Venice, the master illusion of them all. Take, for example, the Palazzo Rezzonico, a stone building well built by honest craftsmen. Every line is heavy, stolid. The Palazzo Rezzonico seems heavy enough to sink in the Grand Canal. But the Cadoro, equally of stone, rises as lightly from the Grand Canal as its reflection sits upon the water. It is lacy, light-hearted, graceful, an illusion created by a master designer. Both the Cadoro and the Palazzo Rezzonico are stone. They are the same size. They weigh about the same. The difference is illusion, the quality that transforms steel and concrete into a soaring symbol of today. Illusion that transmutes silver into a work of art, essential, true. Nothing can be added, nothing taken away from its perfection. The pure elegance, the dynamic line, the sparkling facets of the diamond pattern make it the keynote of a dramatic table. If this silver is your choice, yours is the most advanced sterling of our generation. With modern tarnish preventives, a few minutes a year will keep this diamond coffee service enduringly beautiful. Your cherished silver greets the morning sun as joyfully as candlelight. Your coffee service for breakfast? Of course. Your silver is the only thing in your home that is easier to care for the more you use it. In time, your sterling acquires the glowing patina of use, the final touch of beauty that even the silversmith's art cannot duplicate. Your silver reflects your surroundings. It mirrors your taste. Seeing the play of light on classic rose is one of the delights of owning this romantic contemporary sterling. The design studio is the heart of a silver company. Here, the development of each pattern is intricately explored, relentlessly perfected. Theodore Kerr, head of the design studio, is the author of many of the most admired sterling designs in America. He created Classic Rose. Its graceful contemporary lines are completed by a deeply sculptured rose, one of nature's most evocative motifs. Mr. Kerr believes that silver must be as beautiful as its inspiration. To renew his sources of inspiration, he travels often and widely. An especially rewarding trip was a leisurely journey through the South in springtime. Savannah, with its wealth of fascinating detail, is one of his favorites. This is a strolling city, a place to carry a sketchbook, to saunter, to pause, to savor the charm of a gracious era. To a silver designer, the wealth of detail, so suitable to the scale of beautiful small designs, makes Savannah a special pleasure. It is beautiful today because it was built and has been maintained with taste and a solid sense of values. Savannah lives with beauty. Many of the attractive larger features of our environment are the works of architects who must, at heart, be artists. If you choose to live with beauty, many of the smaller things you see and use each day, your sterling, for example, must be works of art. Savannah's concern for beauty can be seen everywhere. Even Factor's Walk, heart of the business district, shows the taste and the touches of artistic invention of the people who built old Savannah. This is one of America's most attractive cities. It is perhaps at its best after sundown. A moonlit buffet in an old walled garden epitomizes the charm of Southern hospitality. Drawing its inspiration from the heart of Southern culture, a sterling classic that embodies the elegance and dignity of this lovely city is appropriately named Savannah. Fluent curves caress the eye and hand. Rounded lines, gentle as a southern evening, recall Savannah's gracious ancestry. Our romantic southern heritage still casts its spell, a dreamlike vista of a live oak lane, a vision of a stately pillared mansion. The aura of charm evoked by the word Southern conjures images of a bygone time. The silver pattern called Tara rekindles the spirit of this enchanting era. Its rippling sheen and sparkling garlands are equally at home under a crystal chandelier or the open sky. Silver outdoors, be bold. Your sterling is correct anywhere. A handsome silver tea service can be one of your most satisfying and versatile possessions. What better way to celebrate springtime than to serve a festive tea in the garden on that first sunny, flowery day? Your silver is your one possession, sure to become an heirloom, to be forever as beautiful as springtime. The design elements of today's silver have origins as varied as the patterns themselves. The splendid proportions of the great medieval cathedrals were made possible by the invention of the soaring Gothic arch, so delicate, so strong, so uplifting in its emotional appeal. This lovely shape was captured in sterling by the great silversmith and patriot, Paul Revere. Good design like this is timeless in its appeal. Pointed antique pattern complements the bright linens, the striking contemporary chafing dish, the informal accessories of this gay buffet luncheon. A buffet is a special pleasure for a hostess. It lets her be a guest at her own party. Sterling is always signed. The word sterling is a legal guarantee of finest solid silver. Paul Revere, like today's makers, proudly signed his work with his name, his personal guarantee of best materials and best workmanship. Even if Paul Revere had never made his famous midnight ride, his fame would have been secure as the foremost silversmith in colonial America. Revere learned his craft through years of apprenticeship to a master silversmith. One of the techniques he was taught is called planishing, smoothing the small irregularities in the surface of a newly made piece to a fine finish with a highly polished hammer. What colonial silver masters called their arts and mysteries are still basic to the making of contemporary silver. And although most modern designers begin with drawings or models, one of the most gifted artists in silver today is himself, a consummately skilled craftsman who designs by working directly in the metal. John Pripp finds the experience of making the silver shape come to life in his hands a most satisfying kind of creation. John Pripp's background spans the Atlantic. The son, grandson, and great-grandson of silversmiths, he served an old-fashioned European-style apprenticeship in Copenhagen. Here he enjoyed watching the play of light on the silvery northern waters that thread through the city. There seems always to have been a special fascination with form in Scandinavia. Although John Pripp says that design ideas travel quickly today, they are in the air. They are universal. You see what artists did in Copenhagen or Tokyo or New York last month, and you're subtly influenced by these ideas. But its own heritage, experience, and taste. The ways of creating shapes in silver, the arts of decoration, the secrets of producing a fine finish, great skill in these techniques can only be acquired in slow degrees. For 5 years, like this boy, John Pripp studied and worked in this shop under the personal direction of a master silversmith. The relationship between master and apprentice is close, formal, and demanding. A craftsman who has experienced and this intensity and control of his technique, whether he glass, bronze, or clay, wood or stone, he knows his medium so well, free to explore exciting new potentials of his materials. John Pripp brought home to America both a sensitive appreciation of the new paths taken by many art forms and a thorough knowledge of his craft. In Pripp's hand, a hammer plays the same role as an artist's brush. It becomes a natural extension of his arm. In his mind is a picture, a completely new concept in form and spirit. No drawing can express the total image that he visualizes, only by working the metal itself. Experimenting with a new way to forge a slim line with great strength, can the picture in his mind take shape in silver. So is born the reality that his imagination conceived. Slender, sweeping lines, subtle arcs and shimmering facets, the feeling of flight, nuances of light and shadow, Few designers have ever been so successful in translating an idea direct to silver. The lark, a fresh, new form in sterling, crystallizes the finest qualities of contemporary art. Yet such is the rightness of its lines that it is delightfully versatile, at home either with the latest table fashions or with polished old wood and ancestral china. Since earliest times, artists have attempted to catch the feeling of motion in a work of art. Builders of castles, great painters, world-renowned sculptors, celebrated silversmiths have met this challenge in different ways. John Pripp has always experimented with motion and shape. Outside his Massachusetts studio is a collection of shapes and things. Each one has a line or a shadow, moving or static, that he has found worth studying. His studio is full of experiments. The delicate balance of a sea-washed stone, investigations in third dimension with paper, an expression in copper of rocket-like vertical thrust, a designer's miscellany of small objects, a wink of color. This is the setting of a creative artist at work, surrounded by the product of his own unfettered imagination and craftsmanship. This experiment had an extraordinary result. It led to a silver pattern unlike anything that had ever been made before. Using an ancient process of carving plaster with tiny tools, he produced a mold into which metal would be cast. Patiently, time and time again, he sculpted, cast, studied, carved, and cast again. The result? A totally new image in solid silver. The triumph of tapestry sterling is the sheer visual excitement that it gives to your table. As your guests approach, the silver changes. First, texture, then pattern. From close, details. Each aspect is beautiful. No silver ever dreamed has the special magic of tapestry by candlelight, a silvery field strewn with diamonds. Silversmithing is the world's last great craft. While the use of power results in smoother finish, the skilled hand still dominates. Finishing tines, once a tedious filing job, is done more quickly today, but still essentially by hand. A final, skillful polishing brings out the deep, lustrous gleam of the silver. After completion, each piece is inspected individually with infinite care. Today's silversmiths are still as dependent on hand skill as their craftsman ancestors. Now, mechanical power supplements human muscle. It cannot replace the basic need for artistry and knowledge of the metal. The technique of spinning a handsome shape from a flat disc of silver takes years to learn. Raising an ornament in silver, a process called repoussé, depends entirely on the craftsman's sure touch. Many effects in silver can only be achieved by hand. One of the loveliest embellishments of silver today, yet one of the oldest techniques in decoration, is called chasing, incising the surface with tiny chisels, each slightly different, each made to execute a delicate detail. Although a chaser follows a specified design, it becomes an individual work of art with his own subtle interpretation, as is the steel die, for the silver maker's modern press. No machine by itself can create a work of art. This is the responsibility of the artist. Machines today help him to reproduce his work. So this sterling called Hampton Court is as truly fine art as a painting or sculpture. Behind the scenes at your candlelight and silver dinner is your important choice, the sterling that best expresses you. Your silver, well chosen, will enrich you with the pleasure of its presence and the glamour of its heritage. Your sterling pattern may be Francis I, reflecting the richness and bold detail of the Renaissance, or the essential form, the purity, the flawless brilliance of the diamond pattern may most appeal to you. The sweeping lines and romantic details of classic rose, as lovely as its inspiration, may please you more than any other. Or the sterling that expresses the grace and elegance of Southern culture, so aptly named Savannah, may be your considered choice. From the charm of a romantic era comes Tara, to shimmer on your table by sunlight or by candlelight. The honored past, the devoted craftsmanship, the fine traditions of pointed antique may make this the sterling that best completes your home. Or the new concepts in form and spirit so deftly captured in The Lark may seem to you expressive of the best of art today. You may fall in love with a solid silver called tapestry, ageless yet modern as the minute, radiant and sparkling as ripples on the sea. Once, only the wealthy few could own fine silver. Today, it is a beautiful and important part of every home. Your knowledge of the fine art of sterling design will help you to select your own design, your original perfect choice, growing more lovely with each passing year, weaving itself permanently into the pattern of your home.